good, Adam.
Yeah, Paddy.
Hey.
As always, dive straight in. Fitness-wise, how are we looking in terms of the guys who are available Saturday?
It's the same, but without Marcondes. He's been really feeling some hip pain throughout the last couple of weeks, and I think we need to do something about it now, where I think it's the right timing to do it now with more players available. So he's been pushing himself probably to the limit, and probably also a little bit more. And it was feeling pain after the game against Derby the other day. So I think this is the right time. Whether it's going to be a week or two, we hope it's not more than that. But I think that's what we're looking at with him.
And in terms of medically, what that looks like, is that just rest, or do you need to?
Probably rest. Probably also some kind of an injection. Could be done this week if we feel it's important. But now we just need to rest him and see how it goes and how it develops. And if he feels better, then probably we will not do it. But if there's if it doesn't get any better, then probably we'll have to do it.
We wanted to get an update on some of the ones who aren't available at the minute. But Gabe Forsyth, you said he had to pause the comeback, more sort of pain in the knee area, more scans. Where are we with it?
We still try to do his rehab and do everything without surgery, because we don't think, and also the experts that he's been seeing, that they say the same. There's no need for it, but of course we have to listen to the player when he says that he keeps on feeling pain. So we tried another way of going with some injections, one every week for 3 weeks, and I think he's having his second one in this week, and then see if it becomes better, which we hope it will, because that's probably one of the last steps before we need to look at if we have to do something a little bit more drastically.
Forsum, where are we with Forsum?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not really getting better, and it is a big thing, and it keeps on coming more blood into that areas, even though we drain it. So it's not really better. So I think, we're still looking at a couple of weeks, if not more, because he's not even in training. He's not even running. So it's a tricky one, but also one that surprised us a little.
Clearly, if in this 2-week period that doesn't improve, then that's another situation medically to look at.
Yeah, I think we have to, but hopefully again in a couple of weeks' time, it hopefully looks better.
And the only one really, where's Liam Gibbs now? Is he still sort of the light training running stage?
Yeah, light training, light running, and we have to be very careful with him, because it's now happened 3 times within, what was it? It was last season as well, and then 2 this season. So it's too many times. So we have to be very careful with him. So light running and still on his own.
Just clarify, Sainz available tomorrow. 6 games served.
Yeah, yes. And he's looking forward to it, I can promise you.
He is, yeah. On a serious note, I mean, how do you and your coaches, have you spoken about, what's the best way to integrate him again? I'm thinking there's a physical fitness dimension to that, because he's been out for quite a long period of time. Yeah,
first of all, we were told him not to spit anymore, so that's first step, and now we have to see what the next step is, of course, to integrate him. He's been training well, and he's been with the group for all those weeks, and he's been really, really good and professional, and also doing a little bit of extra. It's always different stepping into a game, because you can never really replicate that in a training week. It's not the same with the adrenaline and everything going on in the game. So I think he's available for the group tomorrow. It's too much to expect that he can play a full game, and he can come on from the bench, or he can start, and we have to wait and see tomorrow.
Well, you obviously, a little bit tongue in cheek there, but the club, you have been very strong on that. He has been punished. You said it wasn't acceptable. I mean, does it feel like he owes you or his teammates or the fans something from him?
I think that's a tricky one, because if you're suspended for a red card or something, do you owe your teammates something? I think it's also down to the culture that you have in the club, and down to also the personality. I think he's been very clear to his teammates that he was there was something he did that he shouldn't have done, and I think when he said it was very, very clear for all of us, and he's taken his punishment, and I think that's in my mind enough. So now I think it's just most important for him to get back out there and just start performing on a high level again. That's what we need, and that's probably also the best response he can get, instead of talking too much or dealing with the situation too much again. I think it's just about for him to get out there and show his qualities, because then we'll probably all of us soon forget about the incident.
I mean, to be fair, when I asked you 10 days or so ago about it, I mean, you said, you know, he has, off his own back, wanted to go away and try and seek help outside of the pitch to maybe handle those emotions when he's in those situations again. You know, that shows a maturity which he needs to now build on, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, he's been very, very clear also before that incident happened that he was struggling a little bit because it was new for him to to realize and face in games that the approach from the opposition changed a lot when he was out on the left side for us. Sometimes we even saw that they changed the right back. Sometimes we even saw that some teams changed a little bit of their formation to have a clear double up situation on him all the time, and that was completely new to him. And I think he was quite early open about the situation, that it was a little bit difficult for him. It was difficult for him to get all the knocks and get all the fouls and really hard play against him in some moments, and I can understand it, but it's just a reality, and him and us need to face it and see, okay, how can we use this, and how can he first and foremost get better, knowing that this will be the case, and it will probably also be the case tomorrow, and it will be the case again the next time he plays.
Yeah, and that's the key part, the disciplinary element to this. I mean, he had such an unbelievable start to the season. I mean, he's still the top scorer in the championship.
Yeah.
He scored since the end of November.
Yeah.
Just underlines how good he was.
Yeah.
As you say, there was that period then when teams showed him a newfound respect. You know, you could argue maybe on occasion it's tipped the other side in terms of how they tried to stop him in the games. How does he work through that now? What does he have to achieve to finish the season as he started the season?
Yeah, we have spoken very specifically to him about some tools to handle the situation. So what can he do? So sometimes don't seek that pressure or don't seek that confrontation always, but sometimes stay a little bit out of it and avoid it, and then arrive a little bit later in the box and let the breakthrough and dribbling stuff go on the right side, and he can join the box and score on his first touch. That's a step in, and then he can of course needs his dribbling qualities and his 1v1 qualities as well, but to find the balance when to do it, sometimes just avoid it and play very, very simple, and then find the right timing to do it. So I think towards the end of his games here before the suspension, he was seeking that confrontation a little bit too often, and it ended up being situations where it was not important, it was not needed for us and for him, where we've talked a lot about those moments for him, when to do it and when to stay out of it. So that's one thing, and then of course the mental part about it. I know he was back home with his family where they spoke about the situation. From what I hear, there's also been full support from his agents and stuff like that in terms of supporting him and helping him, but also not blaming anyone else. Just look at, okay, there was a poor thing to do, a bad thing to do. How do we get on with it in a good way, but learning from it as well, so it will not happen in the future. But it is a completely new world for him, where he's a top goal scorer in a league. Probably every time we play, most of the teams will look at the lineup and see that he's in, and they will do something different about that. And we just have to support him in more or less every aspect of the game, because he needs that support. But he's, from what I've seen, the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's been in a good place, and he's taking in information, and he's really trying to deal with the situation.
You said after the game for Saturday, you probably would look to refresh the squad or the lineup, and you know, we saw how tough it was for you to even probably get to 20 names on Saturday. Now no more Condes, but Sainz comes back in. Yeah. Is that still a nice situation to be in compared to what you had to do with points?
It is. There's competition, and there's some disappointed faces after the team selection, and that's like I also said, it's not nice, but that's how it is, and as a coach you prefer that instead of the opposite. So that's a part of it, and I think we still have, just on top of my head, we probably still have 2-3 players where we still have to be a little bit careful, knowing that it's a 3-game week. We have another one on Saturday, so how do we manage the minutes in the best possible way for those players? So it's nice to have them back, but we still have to be a little bit careful in our team selection.
And would Sargent come into that category?
Yeah, Sargent is one of them. Obviously, Nunez is one of them. Anis is one of them. So there is some players. I have a small handful of players out there where we still have to be careful, and we still have to probably not let them go for 90 minutes because then the risk is too big. So that's not what we're going to do. So we make a plan for Tuesday, which a little bit of that plan will also contain some of our thoughts for the game on Saturday. So we make sure that we get the balance right.
And on that balance with Sargent, I mean, how difficult is it? Because he continues to underline just how crucial it is.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult because I want them obviously to play 90 minutes every single game and every single week. But we also know from this season, but also from previous seasons, that he probably struggles when we go into 3 game weeks, and we have to be careful. So I know it's not an easy call, but we plan it, and we probably plan something tomorrow, but also Saturday with him. I'm happy he just scored his second goal against Swansea before we took him off in that game, because that was, like I said, after that one, that was planned, and we have to do it because the last thing we need is another injury for him. So we do everything we can. Of course, we know that there's still 5-10% risk with all players where they can be in the best shape of their life but still pick up an injury. You never know. That's a part of it, where that's just how it is for every club and every team. But everything we can do to prepare and everything we can plan, we try to do.
I think I'm right in saying Callum Doyle 1 game away, maybe from a 2-game ban.
Yeah.
I think he's got 9 yellows.
Yeah.
And there's 5 or 6 games still to navigate before that cut-off point.
Yeah.
Is that something you talk to him about? Do you ask him to do something different to his natural game? And then how difficult is that for a centre-back in the Championship? Because there is that physical aspect to it.
Yeah, he should not stay out of situations where he needs to be aggressive or he needs to be intense. He should not think too much about it. If he gets his 10th booking in the season, that's how it is. Of course, I will not be too happy about if it's because of time wasting or kicking the ball away or doing something, complaining too much to the ref or bookings like that. That he should avoid. But if it's game related and if you have to do it, then you have to do it. And we not debate that. And then we have other good centre backs in the group that are more than ready to step in.
Just one on sort of Derby, and then we'll get into Preston. I mean, you said the penalty was one thing, that incident, but what disappointed and frustrated you was that first half. That he wasn't able to progress the ball, create the opportunities you like. For the uninitiated, which is me basically, what are the elements that have to be different when you want to impose your type of football on a team and maybe settle mid to low block, no interest in pressing in your half, just looking for transition moments and set plays? Yeah,
I don't think we got the balance right in that game, especially the first half, and where even though you face a low block, you have to thread them in behind still, and you have to run at them. You have to, especially the players on the last line, that they have to consistently go and go and go. Even though they don't get the ball for 10 times in a row, they have to do it for the 11th and the 12th and 13th time. That's how it is to play against a low block, and we highlighted that the morning after the game, and also highlighted up to the game that we play tomorrow evening, because it can, in some areas of the game, be a little bit of the same. And we have to do better. And I think it was us being too slow. I don't think our passing game was quick enough. I don't think our quality was good enough, and I don't think our decision making was good enough. I think we had the opportunities to go in behind them, to create some 1v1 situations on the side, but we didn't really do it. It was too much the safe choice in too many situations, where it's okay when we are on the final third of the pitch that we play with a little bit of risk, that we bring in some crosses and we just create a little bit more chaos in the box, where obviously the opposition need to be a little bit more careful in their defensive game. And I don't think we entered the box enough, especially in first half. So that's been a key message and something that we've worked on.
Is that also because, as you explained then, second half you got Anti a bit closer to Sargent? Yeah. Is that something you can do structurally as well as a coach?
Yeah. I believe that everything that goes on in the football game, you can solve it with structure or decisions from outside. So I think, you know me, Paddy, it's never me or us from the outside blaming the players that they don't do well enough. We look at ourselves and say, okay, what should we have done to support them even better? Because why can't they find the good solutions? That's probably down to our decisions in terms of a structure and the players on the pitch and stuff like that. So we've been through everything, and we've been watching that game, and we've been watching other games where we have played against low blocks, especially at home, and we've also been looking at inspiration from other clubs and how they do in terms of breaking down a low block defensively, because I think we can expect it. We can expect it more and more often. It will be a game picture a little bit like the Derby game, especially the second half, where we play a lot on the final third, a lot on their half, and then to come up with the solutions.
Come on, Preston, if I can. I mean, talking of chaos, you certainly don't want to be 2 down again after 12 minutes like you were in that reverse fixture. Being put on a serious note, what do you take from that game, but taking into this game that you need to be better at?
Yeah, I think taken from the Derby game, actually, I was really happy about our overall structure defensively. I think we managed to avoid too many counters against us. I think especially the second half we were really good in the counter pressure, which is a really important thing going into the Tuesday night game, that we have to do well in terms of that, because they have some good runners up front, and if we just open a little bit too much space for them, then they can be a threat in behind us, and we know that they are definitely not afraid to bring balls down the channel or to bring diagonal balls or passes in behind for their runners up front. So we have to be front-footed when we lose the ball. We have to be really, really quick in our reactions when we lose the ball in the final third, and we have to have a good structure. So we actually have used a lot of the situations from the Derby game to highlight the structure outside the box, so we could avoid those counter attacks, because that was pretty good in second half. But that's a key thing.
I mean, you look at their last sort of 3 weeks or so, Preston. You know, they won at Watford, they've beaten Borough, they got through to the next round of the FA Cup. I think, with the greatest respect, they're not a team you maybe look at from the outside and think, you talk about them in promotion terms, but they're certainly at championship level, can make life tough for any team.
They're a difficult team to play against, and that's just how it is. And they are honestly not the only one in the championship that are difficult to play against, and that's credit to them, because they have different kind of players. They have players that can dribble, they can do passes. They have good runners on the last line, and they can create moments out of not too much. It's just sometimes it's a diagonal pass and then something happens, or sometimes it's an early cross and then something happens. So we have to be respectful of that, and we have to be, again, like I highlighted before Derby, we have to be very, very disciplined in also our tracking back, in our defending the box when it comes down to those moments. So it's another difficult one, I know, at the moment, and there's probably a lot of talking about our fixtures and our schedule and so on, but I don't think really we are in a place where we can say, okay, that's an easy one, or that's a game we have to win, or that's a game where the next 5 games we could get so and so many points. I think we just have to be very, very specific on the next game for us and focus 100% on that, and see, okay, we have to do everything to get a good result here, because we saw on Saturday that it can be difficult no matter what.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paddy. Yeah. Cameras off, please. And then Rob.